Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Friends, tonight we are going to understand what is to be done by an Arahanth, the enlightened one. In order to understand this, we are going to study two different discourses from the connected discourses of the Buddha, Samyutta Nikaya. Last Friday, we discussed about 5 aggregates and 5 aggregates affected by clinging. Here also we want to understand, first of all, 5 aggregates. What happened to us with 5 aggregates? 5 aggregates are the most important factors to be understood, because it is the, Buddha said, it is the dukkha. 5 aggregates affected by clinging is dukkha. In his maiden discourse, he said, in brief, 5 aggregates affected by clinging are dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, discomfort, whatever the word you call it, dukkha, the word that the Buddha used. So it is not dukkha for those who do not cling to 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates are to be understood clearly. If we misunderstand 5 aggregates, then we cannot realize the Dhamma. We cannot realize the 4 noble truths, the dependent origination, the 3 characteristics of existence, the remainderless cessation of karma. All these are missing then. That is why we have to understand 5 aggregates clearly. Friends, in society there are 2 types of persons. In this discourse, first discourse which we have selected, the bondage discourse, Buddha very clearly said, categorized these 2 persons. Let's understand these 2 persons, and then we can understand what happened to these persons with the 5 aggregates. Buddha said, here bhikkhus, the uninstructed worldling, that is the first person, uninstructed worldling, putujjana in Pali. Let's see his qualities. Here bhikkhus, an untaught or uninstructed ordinary person, uninstructed, untaught, unlearned, not listened well, common, common worldlings who possess neither learning nor spiritual accomplishment in the Dhamma of the noble ones. Those are the qualities of such person. He is an ordinary person, untaught, uninstructed, unlearned person who has no spiritual advancement, no spiritual accomplishment. He is called run of the mill person. Typically, average, ordinary person. Such a person has no regard for noble ones. These are the qualities of such a person. No regard for noble ones, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, noble ones' Dhamma. Unskilled, undisciplined, who has no regard for true men, Kalyana Mitra, Sappurusha, true men, and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma. In brief, those who have never heard of the Dhamma of the noble ones. That is how the Buddha has defined this uninstructed, untaught, worldling. What happens to him? According to this sutta, according to this discourse, Buddha says, he or she regards form as self. That is what happened to him. Regards form. Form means what? Which one? Form of the five aggregates. Friends, form of the five aggregates is not physical. It is mental. Five aggregates are arising and passing in the six sense bases. Five aggregates are not born. They are manifesting. Khandanam patu bhavu. Buddha said patu bhava. Patu bhava means not born, but manifesting. So, such a person, as he is an unlearned, not listen the Dhamma. He does not know what the Dhamma is. He has wrong views. As such, he regards form as self. Form is myself. Form is myself. Or he thinks that self is possession of form. Myself is possession of form. Or he thinks that form is in self. Or self is in form. Four different ways he clings to this form. That is the meaning. That is the meaning. This is called because an uninstructed worldling who is bound by bondage. Who is bound by bondage. Bound by bondage. Bondage to form. Who is bound by inner and outer bondage. Who does not see the near shore and the far shore. Who grows old in bondage. Who dies in bondage. Who in bondage goes from this world to the other world. This is what happened to him or her. Uninstructed worldling, Putujana. He clings to form aggregates, not only form aggregates. Form aggregates, feeling aggregate, perception aggregates, volitional formation aggregates, and the consciousness aggregate. All the 5 aggregates. He clings to these 5 aggregates. How? As form is self, form is myself, or self as possession of form, or form as in self, or self as in form. 4 different ways. So 4 multiplied by 5, 20 different ways he clings to 5 aggregates. Those are the characteristics of such a person. Now the Buddha explained here who is the second person. Bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple. That is the second person. Instructed. The earlier one is uninstructed, untaught. But this one is instructed, well taught, noble disciple. Now let's see his characteristics. Bhikkhus, a well taught, noble disciple who has regard for noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, who has regards for true men and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, understands what things are fit for attention and what things are unfit for attention. Since that is so, he does not attend to those things unfit for attention, and he attends to those things fit for attention. Those are the qualities of such a person, the instructed, well-taught, noble disciple. Means the one who knows this Dhamma, the earlier one who does not know the Dhamma. Now the one who knows the Dhamma, know and see, friends, two things. Simply knowing the Dhamma, we cannot realize the Dhamma. We have to see. See means see true. See means see through your wisdom, insight. That is why we have to understand the Dhamma and we have to realize the Dhamma. Know is understanding, mere understanding, sheer understanding. Know is knowledge, see through wisdom. 2 different things. Now this person, instructed noble disciple, does not regard form as self. See, referring to 5 aggregates, he does not regard form as self, form as mine, or self as possessing form, or form as in self, or self as in form. He does not grasp these 5 aggregates as such. That is the difference. The untaught ordinary person grasps these 5 aggregates. The noble disciple does not grasp these 5 aggregates. That is the meaning, in brief. This is called bhikkhus, an instructed noble disciple who is not bound by bondage to form, who is not bound by inner and outer bondage, who sees the near shore and the far shore. he is freed from suffering, I say. That's what the Buddha said. So, he does not cling to these 5 aggregates. Now let's come to the second discourse. This is the discourse again. This is from the connected discourses of the Buddha. The name of the discourse is Virtuous. Seelavanta. Sila or Seelavanta. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Mahakottitha were dwelling at Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana. Then, in the evening, the Venerable Mahakottitha emerged from seclusion, approached the Venerable Sariputta, exchanged greetings, and said to him, who said? Venerable Mahakottitha. To whom? To Venerable Sariputta. Friend Sariputta, what are the things that a virtuous bhikkhu, bhikkhu means not the monk. In this case, please take bhikkhu means not only the monk, monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen, all the fourfold sangha, whoever is practicing this Dhamma. Bhikkhu means the practitioner. Practitioner. Bhikkhu means here practitioner. Otherwise, you are missing the Dhamma. If you think that this is only for the monks, bhikkhu, is wrong, which is wrong. Buddha's Dhamma, real Dhamma is for all fourfold sangha. Now bhikkhu should carefully attend to. So his question is, what are the things that a virtuous practitioner should carefully attend to? In other words, what are the things that a virtuous practitioner should do? Venerable Sariputta says, friend Kottitha, a virtuous practitioner, virtuous meditator should carefully attend to the 5 aggregates subject to clinging. This is what is to be done when you are virtuous. Whenever you observe sila, whenever you have a virtuous ground, this is what you have to do. You have to give attention to understand the 5 aggregates subject to clinging. How? As these 5 aggregates are impermanent, as suffering, as a disease, as a tumor, as a dart, as a misery, as an affliction, as an alien, as a disintegrating, something disintegrating, as empty, or as non-self. 11 different ways. We don't want to practice all these 11. We don't want to observe all these 11, apply all these 11. If you can apply 3, what are the 3? First one, impermanent. Second, suffering or unsatisfactoriness. And the last one, non-self. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. These 5 aggregates are anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is the place where we have to understand these 3 characteristics of existence. 3 characteristics. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Why? All sort of sankhara, volitional formations, they all come through 5 aggregates come to where? To where? To our mind. Come to our mind. All sort of sankhar. What are all sort of sankhar means? All sort of sankhara means punya bisankhara, apunya bisankhara, and aninja bisankhara. Volitional formations of wholesome deeds, volitional formations of unwholesome, and volitional formations of jhanic results. These are called sankhara. Buddha said, "Oh, sabbe sankhara anicca." These are anicca. These are the things to be understood as anicca, impermanent. Not the impermanence of the external object, but mentally. Whenever they pop up, you to understand, you to let it happen. Let it go. Let it happen. And then you see that it comes to the state of anicca, impermanent. Whatever is impermanent, if you grasp it, only then it is suffering. Whatever is suffering is without a self, no self. So form, what 5 here? The Buddha said, with the question, what 5? Not Buddha, Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta questions, what 5? 5 aggregates are to be observed, to be understood as impermanent, suffering, disease, tumor, dart, misery, affliction, alien, disintegrating, empty, and non-self. 11. As I said, not necessary to apply all these 11. At least 3. I said 3 things are impermanent, suffering, and non-self. These 3. Let's apply these 3. Enough. So then, what are the 5? The form aggregate. These are the aggregates, 5 aggregates. Form aggregate, feeling aggregate, perception aggregate, volitional formations aggregate, and consciousness aggregate. Those 5. Now, Venerable Mahakottita asks, Venerable Sariputta himself says, when friend, a virtuous bhikkhu, virtuous meditator, practitioner, carefully attends thus to these 5 aggregates, subject to clinging, it is possible that he may realize the fruit of stream entry. That means he becomes a stream enterer. Practicing only one thing. Giving attention, understanding the 5 aggregates, he or she can enter the path as a stream enterer. Now Venerable Kottita's question, but friend Sariputta, what are the things that a bhikkhu, a practitioner, who is a stream enterer should carefully attend to? Means, what are the things to be done by the stream enterer? By the stream enterer. You know, the stream enterer is the one who has cut off the first 3 fetters. You know, we all are bound to samsara, this cycle of births and deaths, with 10 different fetters. Of the 10, the one who cut who cuts off the first three is called stream enterer. The first three are personality belief, doubt, and clinging to rites and rituals. So, if one cuts off these three and becomes a stream enterer, then after that, what is to be done? It is the question. Venerable Sariputta said, friend Kottita, a bhikkhu, a practitioner who is a stream enterer, should carefully attend to these five aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent, and all this 11. Now, he says, when friend a bhikkhu who is a stream enterer carefully attends thus to these five aggregates subject to clinging, it is possible that he may realize the fruit of one's returner. If one is practicing in such a way, one can realize the fruit of one's return. You know, the one's returner is the results of cutting off the first three fetters and attenuating the next two fetters, lust and hate. As such a person becomes the one's returner. Then Venerable Kottita asked, but friend Sariputta, what are the things that a bhikkhu, a practitioner who is a once returner, should carefully attend to? What should be done by the once returner? That's the meaning. Friend Kottita, Venerable Sariputta says, Venerable friend Kottita, a bhikkhu who is a once returner should carefully attend to these five aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent and all this 11. So, the once returner also has to practice the same thing, observing, understanding the five aggregates subject to clinging, affected by clinging. That is the meditation to be done by the stream enterer and once returner also. Then next, but friend Sariputta, what are the things that a bhikkhu, a practitioner who is a non-returner, or when you practice in such a way, you become a non-returner. The once returner, when practice this, the same thing, observing, understanding the five aggregates affected by clinging, he becomes a non-returner. Venerable Kottita's question is, but friend Sariputta, what are the things that a bhikkhu who is a non-returner should carefully attend to? What should be done by the non-returner? That's the question. The answer is, friend Kottita, a bhikkhu who is a non-returner should carefully attend to these five aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent, unsatisfactory, without a self like that. In such a way, he realizes both the five aggregates and the three characteristics of existence. Simultaneously, he realizes the dependent origination and the Four Noble Truths. All these are well connected interconnected like a net. That is the Dhamma of the Buddha. These are quite inseparable but distinguishable. Now, when the person, the non-returner, when he is practicing in such a way, he can experience, realize the fruit of Arahantship. He can attain enlightenment, become an Arahanth. He or she become an Arahanth. Then Venerable Kotita's question, but friend Sariputta, what are the things that a bhikkhu who is an Arahant should carefully attend to? That is our topic. What are the things to be done by an Arahant? That is the topic tonight. So, it's not me. Venerable Sariputta gives the answer. Friend Kottita, a bhikkhu who is an Arahant should carefully attend to these five aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent, unsatisfactory, or suffering, or as a disease, as a tumor, as a dart, as a misery, as an affliction, as an alien, as disintegrating, as empty, as non-self. I suggested, observe, simply understand this is impermanent, unsatisfactory, soulless. That's the way to practice even the Arahanth, friends. So why Arahanth? Arahanth has done what had to be done. That is his declaration. He can declare that his mind is liberated. Once mind is liberated, he can declare that now birth is destroyed. Done what had to be done. Like that. Then why he is practicing the same thing? Here it is said clearly. For the Arahant, friend, Venerable Sariputta says, there is nothing further that has to be done and no repetition of what he has already done. However, when these things are developed and cultivated, they lead to a pleasant dwelling in this very life and maintain constant mindfulness and clear comprehension. Friends, that is why the Arahant also has to practice the same thing for the peaceful abiding and to maintain mindfulness and clear comprehension in his daily life. So, this is very clear. This is what the Buddha's teachings. Though Venerable Sariputta said this is what the Buddha said. Buddha's teaching is very clear. Let's all understand this wonderful teaching day by day. Let's put this into practice in our daily life so that we can experience this real peace, real happiness of Nibbana. May we all realize real peace, real happiness of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.